I chose to analyze the Los Angeles Times mainly because I am from LA, so I found it interesting to see the city's past in the newspaper. I looked at covers ranging from December 1881 to January 1995. The oldest newspaper has an unrecognizable cover than what we are typically used to. The front is loaded with textual information and not much cohesiveness in topics. It stood out to me how banks had the most noticeable ads because I have never noticed a banking ad in newspapers today. It makes sense for so many banks to be promoting themselves during this time because the feds became in charge of them about 20 years prior. Going in chronological order, the next cover was published in the beginning of 1900s. There's already a shift in graphics as we can see the evolution of having large illustrations on the front. The main LA Times header is very creative and has elements that can be seen as symbols of LA, such as a large bird, our mountain views, and buildings. You can also see more highlighting of negative effects, rebellion, fighting, victims, etc., giving a bit more unity amongst the content. It stuck out to me how seats for the theater were only 50 cents for the best seats. I don't believe newspapers advertise movies in that sense anymore, but movies are still discussed. Next is the 1990 publication. The front page is more modern and has the format that audiences are more familiar with. There is one main photo on the cover and the text is surrounding it. For the first time, we see immediately who wrote the stories and little subheadings for certain stories that give background information, such as information on a massacre. Here we see a start of the term, if it bleeds, it leads, with all of the stories being tragedies in their own light. It is interesting to me how the newspaper will highlight international crises, but not international advances. Lastly, the most recent of them all circulated the end of December 1995, which is again very familiar to audiences. There is no top header, but there are limited decent quality photos. I may have accidentally gotten a page that was not the cover, but this was the result when I clicked show full page. There's a lot of text, but there are fewer stories being discussed than the beginning front cover. We can sense the if it bleeds it leads being put into action because most of the headers discuss international battles. The recall on employees stuck out to me because how can you recall a person?